So for the first question, okay, things that I did first was to identify the total ratio, okay, by adding 8 with 3. Then you will get 11. So the total members times 3 over 11 equals to the females. So the 3 here is the females ratio, 11 is the total. By running the calculation, 342 divided by 3 over 11, your total members should be 1254. Find the percentage of the total numbers of members that are female. So 342 divided by 1254, multiply it by 100 and correct your answer to 3 significant figures. It should be 27.3%. Section B, okay, portion you need to pay is actually 100% minus 50%. You will get 85%. So 1020 times 85%, the amount you need to pay is actually 867. Section C, original times 106% equals to 79.5. Original equals to 79.5 divided by 100%, it should be 75. So they wanted you to find not the original price, but the increase in the cost of membership. So you need to take the new one minus the original, and you identify the difference as 4.5. Question D, find the average speeds of the total journey. So things here is that they gave you part of time, which is 2 hours and 24 minutes and 60 kilometers. But for the second part, they only give you the distance and the speed. To calculate average speed, you actually need the total distance divided by the total time. So for second part, you're required to run your manual calculation. Times equals to distance divided by speed. Then you get 1 over 4 hours. So average speeds equals to total distance of 105 divided by the total time, which is the 2 fraction in hours. After correcting your answer to 3 significant figures, it should be 22.6 kilometers per hour. Question E, okay, immediately you will notice we are using the exponential, which is compound interest formula. However, they wanted to find how much money remains in his account after buying the bike. So 480 times 102.1% to the power of 4, you're required to minus it off with 430. So we get a balance of 91.6. The formula S equals to 1 over 2a times t squared. So the keyword here is correct to the nearest integer. Rounding value equals to 1 divided by 2. So it's plus minus 0.5, and for you to calculate the lower bound, the relationship between all these variables is multiplication. So every single unknown over there, you're required to minus off with 0.5. So 1 over 2 times 3 minus 0.5 times 10 minus 0.5 squared. So final results after correcting it to 3 significant figures, it should be 113. Alternatively, you can leave it as 112.81. As for question 2 here, show that the triangle 3a plus 5b equals to 170. Simply add all the interior angle up, it should be equals to 180. Run the manual calculation, you should have no issue to identify the statement above. As for part 2, also the same thing. However, the total interior angle of a quadrilateral is 360. Repeat the calculation part, then you'll get 9a plus 7b equals to 310. So for section 3, run the simultaneous equation calculation. So we have two equations here, which is 3a plus 5b equals to 170 and 9a plus 7b equals to 310. Okay. For this, I'm using the elimination method. So I multiply 3 into both sides of equation 1. Okay, students normally did wrong in this part where they forgotten to multiply the 107 by 3 as well. So after the multiplication, you should get 9a plus 15b equals to 510. So I took equation 3 minus equation 2, then you get b equals to 25. By substituting b equals to 25 into 1, then you will get the final results of a as 15. So find the smallest angle in the triangle. So the smallest size is actually the 2a over there. So 2 times 15 equals to 30. Part B, solve the following equation. 6x equals to negative 12 plus 3. So 6x equals to negative 9. X equals to negative 9 divided by 6. Okay, after simplifying it, you will get negative 3 over 2 as your final answer. Question C, rearrange this and make y the subject. So I first expand the bracket over there, then I get 8x minus 2y equals to 5x minus 3. I will shift the y to the other side. 2y equals to 8x minus 5x plus 3. After the calculation, you should get 3x plus 3 over 2 or 3 bracket x plus 1 over 2. Both is accepted. Question D, this one is actually indices question. So as per usual, I will change my integer, which is 27, into 3 to the power of 3. Okay, before I multiply the power of 2 over 3 into it. After substituting the power of 2 over 3 into it, you should get 3 squared times 8 to the power of 6. 3 squared is actually 9, so your final answer, 9x to the power of 6. Question E, okay, simplify this. So x bracket x plus 5. Okay, I extracted x from the numerator. And for the denominator, I'm using a squared minus b squared formula. So I expand it into x plus b and x minus b. Since x plus b is repeating, then I get rid of it. My final result should be x over x minus 5. As for question 3, okay, pretty straightforward. To complete the table, simply substitute x equals to negative 1, 1 and 3 into the formula. Then you get the respective y results as 5, negative 3 and 21. With that being said, you can now proceed and plot down the coordinates and construct the graph. It should look as below. Use your graph to solve the equation x cubed plus x squared minus 5x equals to 0. X cubed plus x squared minus 5x is actually your y here. So when y equals to 0, your x is actually negative 2.75, 0 and 1.8. So if your answer is slightly different from mine, no worries. As long as it falls within the acceptable range, you should have no issue to secure the full marks. Question D, drawing a suitable tangent. So the key to draw a tangent is that both the left hand side and the right hand side, okay, where they intersect with the curve, must be at the same distance. So just roughly estimate this. So I got two coordinates here, which is 2, 2 and 3, 12.5. By running a calculation, you should get your gradient as 10.5. Write down the largest value of the integer k, that has 3 solutions. Largest integer should be 6, because from 6.5 and above, okay, it is lesser than 3 results already. Okay, the highest possible whole number integer should be 6. As for question 4, to calculate the height of the post, okay, it was given that BC is actually 107, okay, with an angle of elevation of 19 degrees. So the opposite of 19 degrees will be the unknown that we're looking for, which is the height of the post. And BC itself is the adjacent. So through tangent, 19 times 107 will be your post height, which is 36.8 after correcting it to 3 significant figures. Question B, using cosine rule to find angle ABAC. Okay, by substituting it into the cosine formula, you should have no issue to identify your final results as 42.1. As for part C, using the sine rule, you can now identify angle of CAD. Okay, since we have 86 and 132 here. Okay, your CAD's angle is actually 35.8 after the calculation. Calculate the area of the field. So we have two triangles here, okay, and they both are irregular. So if you're using the irregular triangle area formula, half AB sine C. Okay, so I selected two of their sides to run the calculation. For the triangle ACD, which is the second equation that I add here, I took 1/2 times 132 and 86 times with sine, because the total interior angle of a triangle is 180, minus it off with 116 and 35.8. You should get your final results after correcting to three significant figures as 9,670. The bearing of D from A is 70, and identifying the bearing of A from C. So bearing of D from A is 70, hence the balance is actually 34.2. This 34.2 is an alternate angle where I reflected up. From point C, I drew down a straight line, which is 180 degree. Add it with 34.2, then you will get 214.2 degree as your final results. Question 5, identifying the median. There's a total of 60 male cyclists. So 60 times 50% equals to 30th. From 30th, you trace it back, it's actually 52 kilometers. The lower quartile is actually 25%. 60 times 25% is 15. So final answer, 36 kilometers. As for the question 3, the interquartile range, 60 times 75% equals to 45. Okay, 45, you trace it back to the graph, you will get 62 kilometers. Okay, so 62 minus 36, then you will get your final results. Question B, the interquartile range for the distance traveled by a group of female cyclists is 40 kilometers. Make one comment comparing the distribution of the distance traveled by the male and the female. Okay, the interquartile range of the female cyclist is actually bigger, which indicates that the discrepancy between the distance traveled in the women's group is bigger. Okay, so you can mention about difference, you can mention about discrepancy. Okay, comparing between the male and the female. Okay, a male cyclist is chosen at random. Find the probability that they have traveled more than 50 kilometers. So from 50 kilometers, you trace it back. Okay, it's actually 60 minus 27 divided by 60. So you will get 11/20, or it is actually 55%. Question D, use the cumulative frequency diagram to trace this back. So for between 60 to 50, it's actually 41 and 27. So the value is actually 14 after identifying that difference. Repeat the same for the respective group, then you will get 12 and 5. For you to calculate the mean, you need to identify the midpoint of the interval. So it is 20, 45, 55, 65, 80, and 105. Multiply it with their respective frequency count, which is numbers of cyclists here, divide by 60, then you will get their average or mean as 48.75. Question 6, number 1. Show that obtuse angle AOC is 104. Things to take note is that we are using the reflex part, okay, and the circle theorem of angle at the center is actually twice the value of angle at the circumference. So AOC is actually twice the value of ADC. So minus it off with 360, then you will get obtuse angle of AOC as 104. Identifying angle BAO here. Okay, we'll be using the part that is ABCO. So this is actually a quadrilateral with 4 sides here. So the total angle here is actually 360. So 360 minus 256, this is what we have identified. And ABC is 52 because it's half of 104. And minus it off with 30. And the last part, which is the angle that we're looking for. So after the calculation, you will get it as 22. For you to find angle ABD, so to identify this, I first calculated OAC's value. Since it's an isosceles triangle, 180 minus 104 divided by 2, you will get 38. Okay, then between the A, C and BD line, you will form a 90 degree, the right angle triangle. Okay, I then move on to calculate the part of OAD. How do I do that is because AODC is another quadrilateral. By adding them all up, it should result in 360. So 360 minus 128 minus 104 minus 38 minus 38 minus 28, you'll get a balance of 24 degree. So since it's a right angle triangle, you take 180 minus 90 minus 24, you get 66. Hence, we are looking at ABD, this triangle here, 180 minus 22 minus 38 minus 24 minus 66. You will get the final balance as 30 degree. As for part 4, finding the total perimeter of sector OADC, okay, which is the quadrilateral over there. OA and OC is the same with a radius of 9.6, so 9.6 plus 9.6. Then the rest is actually 104 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times 9.6. Then you get the balance and the total as 36.6. Section B, I'm using the comparison method of mathematically similar. Okay, so for volume you're required to cube root them, and for area you're required to square root them. Cube root of 648 divided by square root of 36 equals to cube root of 2187 equals to square root of unknown. So unknown here equals to square root 36 times cube root of 2187 divided by cube root of 648 and square it, then you get the final result as 81. As for part 2, the large prism is being melted down, so this is the keyword. So 4 over 3 times pi times r cubed equals 2187. By running the shifting and calculation, you should be able to find that your radius is actually 8.05. Question 7. Describe a single transformation A to B. This one, immediately you will know it is actually a reflection from the line y equals to -1. So shape A after a translation of -3, 4, this one is actually a translation by shifting your subject to the left by 3 steps and upwards by 4. I label it as A image over there. As for part 2, shape A after a rotation of 180 degree at 0, 0. So this one, okay, I label it as A double image. And for the last part, with a scale factor of 2, okay, from the center, -7 and 0. So I drew down the line first, then I trace it back, and I get this as A triple image. 8A here, keyword is without replacement. So 4 over 6 times 3 over 5, you get 2 over 5 as your final results. So part 2, the marbles are not both red, so total probability, which is 1 minus 2 over 5, which is both is red, the condition, then you get 3 over 5. So question B here, the keyword here is from the sentence, if this marble is not green, he will pick another marbles without replacement. He continues until he picks a green marble. So there's 3 conditions here where he success in the first attempt, success in the second attempt, and success at the third attempt. So first attempt is there's 2 out of 7. So second attempt is I gotten not green first, which is 5/7 times 2/6. And the third attempt is 5/7 times 4/6 times 2/5. By adding all this thing up, okay, you will get 5/7 as your final results. Question 9a part 1, substituting 4 into function f exposition. After the calculation, you should get your results as 5. As for part 2, you need to identify g's function 3 first. After the calculation, you will get this as 0 and 3 to the power of 0 in function h. Okay, it's actually 1. For part 3, substituting 2x into functions g exposition, you will get 9 minus 4x squared. For this, you're required to use the a squared minus b squared formula. So I transform it into 3 squared minus bracket 2x bracket square. Expanding it, you will get 3 minus 2x, 3 plus 2x. As for part 4, function gx is actually 9 minus x squared. Okay, so your f function's exposition now will be substituted by 9 minus x squared. By running the calculation, you should get 15 minus 2x squared as your final results. Section B, identifying the inverse function of f. First, I copy it down, the function f, change fx into y, swap them, and rearrange it. Then you get your final results, okay, which is your function inverse as x plus 3 over 2. As for part C, okay, 5 bracket 2x minus 3. This 2x minus 3 is actually functions f results. Then put it as equals to 3. By running the calculation, you get the final results of x as 1.8. As for part D, g fx equals to negative 16. I first change the fx into 2x minus 3, then substitute this 2x minus 3 into functions g exposition, and you run the calculation to find that your x value is actually negative 1 and 4. The details calculation has been shown over there. I factorize the 4x squared plus 4x squared minus 12x minus 16 equals to 0. So 4x squared can be broken down into 4x times x, and the 16 there is actually 4 times 4. So I cross multiply them, I get 4x and negative 16x. To fulfill the center requirement of negative 12x, I put a plus 4x and negative 6x. So I have 2 brackets here, which is 4x plus 4 and x minus 4. Part E, find x when h inverse is negative 2. So as per usual, I write down function h equals to 3 to the power of x. Okay, change function h into y. Swap them, then you have x equals to 3 to the power of y. So your objective is to shift your y as a subject. So for this, I use this logarithm to complete the work. So logarithm with a base of 3, then the results equals to your power. So your inverse function h equals to logarithm with a base of 3x. So log 3x equals to negative 2. Okay, I get rid of the logarithm by taking 3 to the power of negative 2 equals to x. So x is actually 1 over 9 after the calculation. So it is recommended for you to self-learn this logarithm, although it's not in the syllabus, because without this, a lot of things you couldn't simplify the workings and you have to go through a very hard time to identify your final answer. question 10, okay, first thing that I did was to change their denominator into the same, which is x bracket x plus 1. So for the first fraction there, I'm required to multiply it with x plus 1, and the 2, I'm required to multiply it by x. Cross multiply them and rearrange, and then we get the formula that goes by 3x squared plus 4x minus 1. You then proceed with the calculation through quadratic formula. Okay, how do I know that? It's because whenever I saw the keyword 2 decimal places in a algebra question, you're required to immediately use quadratic formula. So A is 3, B is 4, and C is -1. By substituting it into the quadratic formula, -b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, you should get your final results as 0.22 and -1.55. Question 11, part A. Before I even run the calculation, I would first complete the diagram with whatever information that I have. So OA is actually 4A and P is actually midpoint of OA. So immediately I will know that OP is actually 2A and PA is actually another 2A. For next part, identifying OB. OB has a total of 8B here. So through the ratio, I know that OQ is actually 3 over 4 of OB and QB is actually 1 over 4 of OB. Okay, by substituting it with the 8B here, you get the results of 6B and 2B respectively. Okay, the last thing that we have is the Q is the midpoint of PC. So by identifying PQ, okay, you will know that PQ equals to QC. So part A number 1, AB is actually AO plus OB, that goes by -4A plus 8B. Why is it negative? Because the direction, the results that we have is actually for OA. So whenever we switch direction, we are required to add a negative into it. For next part, identifying OQ. OQ is actually 3 over 4 of OB, which translates into 6B. For us to find PQ here is by taking PO plus OQ. PO is -2A and OQ is 6B. So we have 6B minus 2A for VQ's results. So PQ is 6B minus 2A and QC is 6B minus 2A as well. Using vector, find the ratio of AB to BC. AB, we have already gotten it. Now what we need to do is to identify BC. So BC is actually BQ plus QC. Okay, we have QB's results. To reverse it, we put negative into it. -2B plus 6B minus 2A should be 4B minus 2A. So when you compare these two together, you will immediately know that the ratio is actually 2 to 1, and the details calculation has been shown over there. That's pretty much it for paper 43. Okay, among all 3 papers, I would rate paper 42 as the hardest. Okay, so it's good to do more practice. Okay, if you have friends that are struggling, feel free to share this paper to them, and I wish you all the best in your upcoming examination. Thank you.